Welcome to Marriage Matters. This is a show where we talk about all things marriage and relationships. So how's your day going? How's your day? How's your night? Tell me all the things.
Well, it's not a whole lot of things to tell. It's a normal Sunday. We were in church online this morning. As you know, cooked lunch, had lunch,
All that,
and
yeah.
rested. So, and now we're here. That's been the gist of my day, and so it's been the perfect Sunday.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's cold, it's raining. Good news is, the Saints are winning. I think they were winning the last time I checked.
Okay,
when we went online. But anyway, so we just want to welcome you guys to tonight's broadcast, and like I said, we just want to come to you every week. We want to try our best to come to you live every week.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys would rather us come to you live, or would you rather the pre-recorded. Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what's up. So AM Zabby said, "Go Saints."
Go Saints.
Who
yes,
that?
ma'am.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to create any biases. Somebody else may not be Saints fans. But anyway, tonight what we want to talk about is ask what you want. That's what we're ask for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that, what comes to mind? What comes to mind for you?
Well, when it relates to marriage, it's easy. Oftentimes we have these things that we want or things that we need, and struggle with actually asking for them. Especially when there are things that make us feel vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
We struggle with asking for those things. So,
okay.
Yeah. And I don't want to get too far ahead.
No, you're good. I'm just trying to pull my notes up that I had here. So, yeah, this is, I think, one of the classic mistakes I know for me that I made.
Mm-hmm.
And in our marriage, I think a lot of times we assume things.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said about when you assume things. You know the saying about?
Oh yeah, I know the saying
about assuming. I'm not going to say that, but anyway, a lot of times I think we go into relationships, and not even in our marital relationships, but just relationships in general,
right,
where we assume certain things, especially when it comes to our needs, our wants, and our desires.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we assume, we talk to a lot of couples, and one person in the relationship will say something like, well, I need this, I need him to connect with me more.
Mm-hmm.
Or he'll say, I need her to respect me more, or what have you. And I always ask him, well, what does that mean?
Right. What does that look like for you?
What does that look like, for you? Because I always say this, is that when you say I want connection,
mm-hmm.
that could mean so many different things.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I always tell, especially, because a lot of times I talk to, the ladies in the relationship as it concerns what the man needs, and,
mm-hmm.
and you vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But, a lot of times I'll say something like, you got to tell him what you need. You got to tell him
right.
what you want. And I'm always almost 95% of the time I'm met back with this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he should already know what I need.
That's right.
He should know.
Right.
I mean, by now, and that's the one. By now,
mm-hmm.
he should know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the deal. Unfortunately, most men and most women, probably all of us, we are not mind readers.
No, not at all.
We cannot automatically know. And I know you think that, a lot of people think that, romance is supposed to be intuitive, and romance, and I think a lot of times we get carried away. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I know sometimes it is, but I think a lot of times we get carried away by Hollywood or
mm-hmm.
whatever. And, but life is just not like that.
No.
So you have to make known even with God, even though God, listen to this, even though God knows our thoughts, the Bible still says that we have to make our requests made known to him,
mm-hmm.
right? But there is a scripture that I want to read, and this is in 1 Corinthians 2:11,
mm-hmm.
and this is out of the Passion Translation, and it says, "After all, who can really see into a person's heart and
Mhm.
know his hidden impulses except for that person's spirit?
Right.
So it is with God. His thoughts and his secrets are only fully understood by his spirit,
Mhm.
the spirit of God. So this scripture is really talking about how the spirit of God knows everything that God is thinking, that God is feeling, all these things. And it's saying basically, since we have the spirit of
Right.
God,
Right.
we too can know
Right.
what God is thinking. But
Mhm.
I want to pull this principle out of here. It says no man or no person um or who can really see into a person's heart and know his hidden impulses except that person's spirit. So in
Right.
other words, the only person that really knows what Glenn is thinking is Glenn.
Right.
And for me to assume that Tanya already knows or
Mhm.
should already know what I'm thinking
Mhm.
is I want to say foolish, but I don't know if that's too harsh of a word.
Well, I think it's I think that it's unfair to expect another person to know what you're thinking. Even if you have been together, whether you've been dating or married for a long period of time, yeah, there are some things that I can anticipate what that you'll need or that you want. I can anticipate your some of your moves and some of the things sometimes that you are thinking, but that doesn't mean that I am 100% correct.
Mhm.
And if there is an inner need that you have that I'm not meeting, obviously I don't know what it is because I love you. I want to be able to meet those needs if it's something in my capabilities to meet. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah.
So, I think that it is pretty, um, not trying selfish.
Yeah. And here's the bad part about that, or the not the bad, but the dangerous part about that, or the unfortunate part about all of this, is that a lot of times when we are expecting people to know what we want,
Mm-hmm.
and then the person that we're expecting to know what we want,
Mm-hmm.
uh we then when they don't give us what we are expecting,
Mm-hmm.
then we have a tendency to have resentment towards the person.
Right.
Now think about that for a
Mm-hmm.
moment. That's like me going into a store
Mm-hmm.
and just standing there, into the store and standing in the shoe
The shoe department.
department of a store, just standing there, you
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody comes up to me and says, "Excuse me, sir, can I help you?" And I just stand there, right? And I just
Mm-hmm.
stand there. And then I just leave out mad and upset. And I say, I go on Facebook or whatever and say, don't ever go to the store. They don't have good service
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't meet my need. Well, of course they couldn't because I never told them I'm looking for this type of shoe in this size,
Right.
so on and so forth. Right. And it's the same thing in our relationships. We cannot expect for our spouse or anybody, I remember um I was on my job. I had this new manager that came in, and he was just kind of asking us, you know, what what our career path, how we
Mm-hmm.
want to do such and such, and
Right.
and so when he came to me, I didn't, and we're going to talk about this too. I didn't fully state my desire.
Mm.
I was playing small
Mm-hmm.
in an effort to, and I think we do this in our relationships. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to play small in an effort to protect his feelings or
Mm-hmm.
his ego, or I don't know what it was.
Right.
But then when he got ready to leave that position, and I told him, well, I want to move into your position,
Mm-hmm.
he said, well, what are you talking about? Actually, I think it was somebody. I think his manager was talking to him about his replacement, and his manager had said, "Well, I think Glenn would do well in that position."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "What are you talking about? I don't think Glenn wants my position."
Mm-hmm.
And the manager's like, "Well, I'm pretty sure he does because he maybe talked to me about it a while
Right.
back." But my manager was like, "Well, man, he never told me." And again, it
Right.
goes back to that expectation.
Right.
So in what we want to say tonight is in your relationships, in your marriage, whether that's spouse to spouse, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's here's another one, parent to children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of time we assume that kids get it,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get angry with them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like have you really taken the time to show them how to wash the dish or
Right.
clean up, you know, to
Or
your
my pet peeve, loading the dishwasher correctly.
to your standards. That's the other side, because sometimes they do it, but it's not to your standards. But
Right.
so you have to uh ask for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You got to
Mhm.
ask what you got to make your request known. So and so let's get into some of these notes that we have
Mhm.
here. So the first thing is you have to ask for all of what you want,
Yeah.
and that's key.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes, well, let me ask you this: why do you think people hesitate on asking what they want in relationships?
I think it's there's a lot of reasons why people hesitate to ask for what they want. One, you just described very clearly. Oftentimes, people have the tendency to play small, and it's, you know, it may be out of humility, it may be out of some sort of fear. They may be dealing with some imposter syndrome. A lot of different things, you know.
What's imposter syndrome for
So
those of that?
it's, you know, imposter syndrome is where you basically you downplay your own capabilities, your own successes, and things of that nature. And so, you know, you may have 5 degrees, but it's just like, oh, you know,
Mhm.
you know, I don't do anything. You know, I'm nothing special. You know, that kind of thing. So people are in different places, and so sometimes that's why people hesitate to ask for what they want. Sometimes they are stuck on, well, you're my husband, you're my wife, you should know, you know. Sometimes, I mean, it's a multitude of things,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. So, but what we're saying is, if you want it, you have
Hmm.
to ask for all of what you want
Right.
without any withholding. I think sometimes we forget, or I know for me, sometimes I think if I ask for that, it's gonna change the way you look at me.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes we're scared to ask for what we really want, because it really, when you ask for what you really want, it's that's being vulnerable. It
Exactly.
goes back to being vulnerable, and a lot of times we don't want people to really know. um or you know, I know for me, a lot of times I'm real big on selfishness. Like, you know, I don't want to seem selfish,
Hmm.
but again, it goes back to this, that, and this is the unfair part again: if I don't ask for what I want, but I'm expecting Tanya to give me that,
Hmm.
she's never going to be able to give me something she doesn't know I require.
Right. Right. And you said something key. And I actually I put that in my notes. That when we ask for what we want, we're letting others know who we really are. We're
Hmm.
really allowing people to see us.
Yeah,
And sometimes that can be a scary thing.
yeah.
And so when we withhold from asking fully for what we want fully, then now we're not being vulnerable,
Hmm.
right? And so in a marriage, when you're not vulnerable with one another, then there is a disconnect there, you know, because this should be the safest place in the world for me,
Hmm.
right? You know, besides my relationship with the Father, there's this,
Hmm.
you know, and this should be the place where I can be most vulnerable,
Hmm.
is with you.
Yeah.
But if I'm not allowing myself to be that way, or I don't feel that I can be that way, then you're not seeing all of me.
Okay. Okay. I think the other reason sometimes is that it's the fear of fear of rejection.
Hmm.
You know, what if I ask for it and the person is not willing to give that to me? So, and see, that's part
Hmm.
of it, is
Hmm.
when you ask, you put it out there, and when it's not a matter of asking to make this person do it. It's
Right.
you then give them the option
Hmm.
to choose. So, you know, sometimes that, again, it goes back to being vulnerable, because if you ask for it and then the person that you're asking says, well, no, I can't do that,
Hmm.
or no, I'm not going to give that to you,
Hmm.
then, you know, and some of this goes back to um you know, unfortunately, it goes back to our upbringing,
Hmm.
you know. I know it's like, it's that old thing, when you go over to other people's house, I remember, being younger, I said my mom's in here watching, she's always watching. But I remember just being younger, and you go to somebody's house, what do they tell you?
Sit down, shut up, don't ask for
Don't
nothing.
ask for nothing. Don't ask for nothing. Or we go into the store.
Don't ask for
Don't
nothing.
ask for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask. And so I think a lot of times we've been trained and conditioned not to ask. The other thing is sometimes I think we've been told no so many times that also, I know my girls, they tell me that. It's like, well, I'm not going to ask because you're going to tell me no anyway.
Right.
And I was like, well, don't tell me what I'm going to say. What you want? They ask me, no. But we can't, we have to, if we're going to grow in our relationship, we have to push past those fears, because again, it's not fair to because it's not fair to your spouse, it's not fair to the people that you're in a relationship with when you're holding those things back, because really, like Tanya said, when you ask, you're really showing who you really are. So when you don't ask, what you're really doing is you're holding back a piece of yourself.
Right.
And again, you're not even giving your spouse the chance. You're not even giving them the opportunity.
So what are some of the things, let's kind of list for the audience, what are some of the things that we tend to hold back from asking, or some of the things that we need that we don't ask?
There's a lot of them.
I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
It's time.
Okay.
When you need, when it can be several different types of time. Time alone with your spouse, time alone away with your spouse.
Yeah.
Time alone can be, okay, let's sit down and watch a movie tonight. But sometimes you may need actual time away alone with your spouse. Maybe you need time away from your spouse and your children.
Right. That's what I thought.
You need a kind of personal respite, personal break, you know. Or for me, those girl hangout nights, just hanging out with my friends, and all we do is talk about our husbands and children. So
what you be saying about me?
That's a different show.
Yeah. So
it's all good though.
So, but that I could see how, especially the one when you say ask for time away, because here's the truth. A lot of times, the thing that you're afraid to ask, your spouse is probably struggling to ask also. Because sometimes it's like, I want time away too. So, and again, when you ask that, and so now you're saying I want time away, I need just some time to myself. That frees your spouse to say, okay, well, I need that too.
Right.
And then it's gonna grow. It's gonna cause the relationship.
Like, you take this Friday, I'll take next.
Exactly. So it's gonna grow the relationship. Yeah.
And I think we do that because I don't want to say to Glenn that I need some time away, some time to myself, or some time with my friends away from he and the girls, because then he's gonna think that there's a problem. And there's not a problem.
Nope.
That is self-care. That is mental health care, that is, being sociable and not being responsible for other people, and just kind of, being able to let your hair down in a different way.
Yeah. And all that's so needed. Yeah. So, I mean, what are some other, you said you had some other asks.
Are
you saying that? Are you asking me that now? Are you putting me on the spot? You're saying you need?
No, I'm not putting you on the spot. I already have my time scheduled. So.
Yeah, but so there's many others, and I just can't think of any off the top of my head. But the point is, you know what those things are that you've been wanting to ask, and every time you go to ask, okay,
I'm sorry, but it just came to me.
Okay,
is a conversation. So, and these are things that I hear from other people that, I need to sit down with my spouse and there's a particular hard conversation that they need to have and they have not found, quote unquote, the right time, the opportunity to have that conversation with he or she. They are a little afraid to ask for that time because they don't know what their response is going to be. So sometimes it's even having a conversation.
So they're just that you're even afraid to ask to have the conversation. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll have one. This for the men.
Okay.
Sex.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like we want to ask, but it's like, oh, I don't want to. But again, it goes back to that other side of that says, well, it has to be spontaneous. It has to be well. Sometimes, especially if you have kids and you work and sometimes you have to ask and say, hey, can you just pencil me in
Put me on your
for
calendar.
Tuesday night? You know what I'm saying? And that gives an opportunity to get your mind right.
Yeah, and that is a need for women, that sometimes you do need to mentally prepare yourself to to have sex with your husband, to be intimate with your husband, because you have so many you're wearing so many different hats. And by the time you hit the bed at night, it's like, okay, I'm out in 5 minutes, you know. So
but when I ask,
then I have time to prepare myself, and I'm aware that, okay, this is happening this night.
So I'm just gonna say it again, ask for what you want. You know what I'm saying?
And for people who may be watching who are not married, they're like, man, that's supposed to be just spontaneous, and just wait till you get married and have a couple of kids, and you will see.
Okay. So, what happens? So I want to kind of switch gears here. So what happens when you do say, okay, you know what? This is a need that I have. I'm going to make the ask.
Right.
And you make the ask, and the person that you're asking, your spouse, this is marriage matter. So we just say, so your spouse says, I can't do that. What do you do with that?
Then you have to accept that. It goes back to, we talked about vulnerability, that when you make your ask, you're being vulnerable, right?
Okay.
And so being vulnerable is taking a chance. It's not a guarantee that person is going to say yes to your ask, that they're going to see things your way, that they're going to agree with you, and we're not, you said it earlier, we're not making a demand. We're not saying, oh, well, you gotta take me on a trip to the Bahamas, this summer. No, that's not. I would like to, have a vacation away, just the two of us. But I can't place a demand on you to make that happen. There are a lot of things that come into play with all of that, so it's accepting, okay, well, now it's not the time. He's not ready. He's not there yet. And okay. I put it out there. I'll let you know.
Well, and I'm gonna add to that. But I also say that one thing that you can do is maybe make another request.
Sure.
That's the number one thing. Is like you said, okay, I want to take a vacation to the Bahamas, and then if this, no, we can't do that. Okay, well. In that situation, one thing that's like, well, why?
Sure.
And here's what other thing that you can do is you can explain your why. Because this is just not. I don't want to just take this trip so I can have Instagrammable photos.
Right.
I want to have some time to spend with you. Our family, we've been working hard.
Yeah.
We need to get away or whatever. So you can always ask why, and you're not asking why to be. We have that's another one of those things. We have a problem with that. And I always tell people this, that even Jesus allowed, even God allowed people to ask. When Mary, the angel came to Mary, she's like, well, how?
Right.
How's this going to happen? You can ask questions.
That's something else that's been passed down generationally, that we've been taught.
It has been.
That, you don't ask why.
You don't
question, you don't question your parents, you don't question God.
Yeah.
But I've learned that when children know why, then they tend to not do the thing. You don't run in the street because a car may hit you. They don't do that because they understand why. And in relationships, if I explain to you why I have need of spending more time with you because it's been, 2 months since we've had any time away together, or it's been now in 2021, it's been over a year since we've had any actual time away together, and we need to reconnect for a few days alone.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. So the other thing I would say, if you, ask why, explain your why. The other thing is um
Make another
make another
request, right?
request or
Renegotiate.
modify it. Right. So like you
Mhm.
said, if it's like, okay, I understand. So why? Oh well,
Mhm.
2020 was kind of tight financially for us,
Mhm.
and we had to dip into our savings, and
Right.
so we need to really start building our savings and our emergency fund back up, whatever, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, well, how about if we just take a weekend, maybe not do the Bahamas? How about if we just go to, I don't know, maybe we go to San Antonio for the weekend?
Mhm.
How about, so you can always renegotiate.
Right.
And then, if you just if even in all of that, if the why, I mean, the answer is still no, we can't. Well, then, you guys gonna have to just talk and work it out. But the whole point of all of this is now you've made you've gotten that out. But just imagine having that feeling of I want to spend, or I need to
Mhm.
spend that time with you, and it's just you never really fully express that to your
Right.
spouse.
Mhm.
How that in and of itself can build resentment. Does
Sure.
that make
Mhm.
sense?
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's good. Asking for what you want. It's important.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I remember I was talking to this one client, and it she had that same thing about you know I forgot how it was, but basically we were able to walk through this process, and she got down to
Mhm.
a specific thing.
Mhm.
I think I said this last week. I'm my number one love language is touch.
Mhm.
So I've learned that I don't. Tanya's top love language is quality time or
Mhm.
words of affirmation. I should know this, huh? Which one is it?
Quality time.
Quality time,
Mhm.
right? But mine is touch. So when I'm spending quality time with her, sometimes I'll just take her hand and I just
Mhm.
put it on my leg
Mhm.
because I just want her to touch me. And she may not be a touchy feely person.
Mhm.
I think she always tells me she got her cousins used to hold her down and tie her up and torture her. So I think some of that
Childhood
stems
trauma.
stems from that. But I like to be close. I like
Mhm.
to, and so I'll let her know, I'll do that for her to remind her,
Mhm.
hey, I want you to touch me. And so a lot again, it goes back to um well, she should know that.
Right.
We've been married for almost 20 years. Well, she should know that. Okay, that's true, but
I know
maybe
that, but I may not be thinking to do that at that time.
exactly,
And if yeah, that's what you want.
or you may not know the frequency at which I
Right.
want that.
Right.
So and if it's something that I need, something that I want, I'm going to
Mhm.
make sure that she's aware of it and she understands
Mhm.
this is what I want to happen in this moment.
Right.
And I'm telling you, that's romance.
Yeah.
Romance is not this spontaneous. I mean, it's great to be surprised, but I'm telling you, listen. Let me talk to the ladies for a minute. Can I do that?
Sure. Have your way.
Let me talk. Look, I'm sorry, but sometimes we just don't get it. We're not the most. So I always tell Tanya this, and even like for birthdays and Christmas and stuff, it's like just tell me, don't have me guessing, because I would rather you tell me what you want and allow me to go get that, or at least tell me the neighborhood
Right.
where what you want and allow me to go get it, and so that way you get what you want.
Mhm.
But so many times, what happens? We don't. Oh, just whatever.
Mhm.
you know,
Trying to be
or
humble.
exactly always
Mhm.
say, what do you want to do for your birthday? Oh,
It doesn't
I
matter.
don't want to do much this week. Okay. And so then the birthday passed, and then now you all mad and upset.
Mhm.
You all mad and upset. It's like, well, I thought you said you didn't want to do much.
Right.
Well, all this, how they say yes means no and all
Right.
that.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's too confusing. Look, if you want a birthday party, you tell I want a birthday party. Or I heard it was I think it was Steve Harvey said that, talking about there was a lady who's saying that her husband never gets her what she wants or whatever. I forgot what it was, but anyway, he said, I'll tell you what you do. Next birthday, go buy you a new car.
Right.
He's like, and I guarantee you, he'll pay attention. But my point is, it's like you gotta tell us, man. You gotta, I do this thing now. I stalk Tanya on Amazon. So I'll go and look and see what she's been looking at. And if I want to surprise her with something, I'll go and just buy something that I saw. Amazon will tell you what they've been looking at, and I'll go do that. But again, my point is, all of this is you have got to ask for what you want. Your needs in your relationship will never get met unless you make them known.
Absolutely.
Your spouse is not a mind reader. Okay. The Bible even says that no man knows what another man is thinking except for that man or that woman, right? And so we gotta get out of this thing where we just assuming that our spouse should already know. They should know, or the person on the movie, they knew.
That
and they
scripted.
It's exactly.
Yes.
You know why they knew? Because somebody told them what to say. Somebody told them. If you a person that loves words of affirmation, look, here's what you do. Write you out some affirmations and give it to your spouse and say, here's some things you can say to me. And here's what happens, I found, is that when you do that, what you're doing is teaching your spouse how to love you. And eventually, I think, they'll develop these habits naturally. But even if it goes, sometimes, you get to this routine and then you just forget.
Right.
Well, hey, give them a love nudge, right? Tell them, hey, you hadn't told me, you hadn't given me a word of affirmation in 2 weeks or whatever.
I tell Glenn, like, some days we, may just be moving about, working or doing whatever. And I'll say, hey, did you tell your wife you loved her today? Hey, did you kiss your wife today? And so that's me letting him know that I need to hear those words from you. It would be nice to hear those words from you. It would be nice for you to stop what you're doing and give me a kiss. Now, I could walk up to him and do that and initiate it. And I do that sometimes.
I like it.
But there are moments where I'm just like, okay, I need for him to pay attention. And so I will say those types of things just to drop that little seed. And he's just like, oh, maybe I didn't, and he will follow through, so you just have to open your mouth.
Yeah. And I'll, in closing, I'll say this for the person being asked, the askee.
The askee. That's new.
You would be the asker. I would be the askee.
Okay.
Is that what but it's like, don't automatically assume they're being demanding or they're, you should be happy. It's like, give me the playbook.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because here's the deal is, unfortunately, marriage doesn't come with, a book on how.
Yeah.
How to. And here's the other thing, especially for any of you who maybe was married before, or maybe you probably dated before. So you understand what makes this person happy.
Right.
And then when you get into this other relationship, you try to say, okay, well, this is what works for this person. This is a totally different person. Right. So again, people don't come with a manual.
Right.
There's some general things you can do, but you know what I'm saying? People don't come with an instruction manual. Right. So the only way you're gonna find out what makes them happy, what floats their boat, all these things, like I said last week, what makes their liver quiver, all those things is you're gonna have to ask. You're gonna have to, and I think I do that. Yeah. I tried to do that a lot. Is ask Tanya, what are the things that you like, or do you like it when I do this, or did I do that right, or did I say that right, or when I said that, did that offend you? So I'm always getting information, because the more information that I can get from her, the better husband that I can be.
Right. And what I was thinking when you were saying that is the beautiful thing about asking for what you want is that it is going to constantly build conversation between you and your spouse. How many times do you go out to eat somewhere, or you are in the park or somewhere public, and you see a couple together and they are both on their phones, or they're just sitting, at the table looking around, but they're not looking eyeball to eyeball. They're not having conversation. They're not really engaging with one another, and I see that And I am a people watcher. And so sometimes I'm like, I wonder, what that relationship is like at home.
Hmm.
Are there some unmet needs there that he's not voicing? Are there some things there, that she wants or that she needs from him or that she is not getting, that she hasn't vocalized, because the connection doesn't appear to be there. I could be wrong, but sometimes those are the types of things that I'm thinking, and when we ask for what we want, when we're vulnerable, oftentimes there's more connection. I've seen our connection grow a whole lot in the last year, 2 years, because we've chosen to have more real, hard conversations. And
Hmm.
so the times when we're not having those conversations, like it's just like being with my best friend when we were dating,
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
creates more conversation.
And so this is the last thing I want to talk about is before you can ask what you want, you have to know what you want.
That's good.
You have to know what you want. And I would, it would surprise you if you would ask the average person, what do you want? A lot of people, I can say most people, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people really don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I would encourage you to do is spend some time just really thinking about what is it? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want out of this relationship? What is the end goal? What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I remember, when Tanya told me what she wanted when we were dating, she's like, "I want to get married." I'm like, "Man, really? You want to?"
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she had to tell me
Mm-hmm.
she knew what she wanted, and watch this, because she knew what she wanted and she told me what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I then had a choice to make. I could either say,
That's it.
I can give you what you want, or I'm out of this because that's
Mm-hmm.
not what I
Mm-hmm.
want. And so that's a scary thing, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vulnerable thing, of course, but it can save you a lot of time.
Absolutely.
So either you're wasting your time with me,
Mm-hmm.
or I need to do something, or at least. And so what I did was I renegotiated.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was like, okay, because she was ready to get married. Like when? Right then. She was like, I want to get married. I want to.
I didn't say like tomorrow,
But
but
you would,
I was
if
ready.
I would have
Yeah.
asked you to, if I said let's go get married tomorrow, what you would have said?
I don't know about tomorrow.
Don't lie for the people on Facebook. She
I,
she'd have been like, okay, where we going? But anyway,
not tomorrow.
what I did was I renegotiated. I said, okay, I proposed to her. I asked her to marry me,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave her an engagement ring.
Mm-hmm.
And but I knew we wouldn't get married immediately.
Right.
But what did that do for her? That gave her
The
the reassurance that
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is serious. This is going somewhere. And then later on, we said, okay, we're gonna set the date.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a year and a half later.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but my point is when she asked me that, because I probably would have just been fine, not forever,
Just dating alone.
not
Just dating
forever, but
alone.
you know what I'm saying. Yeah, because marriage, and for me, I think the biggest thing for me was I knew it's like marriage was important, and
Absolutely.
it was I didn't want to just be getting married all willy nilly.
And so, just to kind of go back though, I had to let you know, and it took a lot of courage for me to get to that point to tell you what I wanted, because I realized in myself what I wanted and what I was ready for. And if you were not willing to go there with me, I would have been heartbroken, but I would have had to get over it because I knew what I wanted. And if you weren't the one, then But obviously, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
Amen.
What they say, the jury's still out? No, I'm just playing.
Mama, get your son. Get your son.
No, I did. I know I made the right decision. I made the right decision. So anyway, what was my point?
I don't know.
You got to know what you want before you can ask. That was my point.
Yeah, okay.
That was my point.
I forgot. With all that, you made me forget.
So you got to know what you want. So once you know what you want, you gotta make that. You gotta ask. Because if you don't ask, then they'll never know. And if they don't know, they can't do it.
That's right.
And then you don't have a right to be angry. You don't have a right to be upset. You don't have a right to be passive aggressive with them.
Right.
For something that they, it's like that is the worst feeling in the world when you know something is not right in your relationship, but you don't know what it is. So you can't do anything about it. So
that is a horrible feeling. You need to be aware.
So you got anything else?
Oh, that was good, but I think we need to do another show on that.
You think so?
When you ladies, you know that you're ready. I'm not saying
that.
2 months in. I'm just saying, like, we have been dating for what, 2 years?
Yeah, only 2 years.
And you know what you want, and because I've seen people be in these relationships for 10 years, and it's just like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't waste my time, bro. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I went off, but I'm back.
Ms. Abby said she did that with her mate too.
Okay, come on. How long have you been married, Ms. Abby? Type it in the chat.
Yeah, they've been. I've been trying to get them on the show. We're gonna get them on the show.
We need to get that wisdom.
Yeah, but yeah. So you got to ask for what you want. You have to. Because if you don't do that, then your spouse can't meet those needs, and so just be vulnerable, open yourself up to your 31 years.
31 years. Amen. Thank you, Lord.
31 years. Yeah. So, be open, and ask for what you want.
Ask for what you want. And here's the thing, and I know we're trying to close, right? But if your spouse is not, I'll say, willing or able even to give you what you need, that could be a sure sign that maybe we need to get some help somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
And seek some counseling, some coaching, whether that be individually or as a couple, so that we can uncover what's happening there. And because if your needs are not being met, then resentment's going to begin to set in. You're going to pull further apart, and all of those things are going to happen. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Just send the 911, call a friend, and say, do you know any great counselors? Do you know any great coaches? And get the help that you need. We are also available. So,
man, I know we're trying to end, but when you just said that, something else came to my mind. Is that, here's the other part about this, is needs and wants change
over time. Yes.
So there's some things that I needed or wanted, 15 years ago that now it's like, yeah, I don't need that anymore. Now I need this.
Absolutely. And so to expect the person to stay the same.
Yeah, you can't. It's
not realistic.
You can't do that. And I know this can seem daunting and overwhelming and just like, oh man, I always got to be asking, but it's really not. Like you said, it's really, we always say this, we got to talk open and honestly about everything
all the time,
often. And when you do that, then you stay open and you make those changes and those transitions together. And that's the key thing, is staying open in your relationships and understanding that, if that's what, if that's what she needs. And sometimes I tell Tanya this, okay, I understand you need that. It may take me a little time, to get to there, but I want you to know that I'm going to work towards moving in that direction. Right. And I always tell her this too. I need you to help me.
Yes.
To move, because I've been doing it this way, or I've been saying it this way for so long. It's going to take me some time to transition to that. So I give her permission to, if I'm not doing it right, or if I'm not saying it right, or whatever, help me to,
to move along. And my expectation is never that it happens tomorrow, because I realize that, that work we're doing together. And usually before I know it, it's become a part of what you do. And I forget that I even made the request. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and stop for real this time. So, but we want to thank everybody for joining us.
Let's shout out who's been on. Mama, thank you for joining us. Lena Coleman, Miss Danielle, thank you for joining us. Miss Abby Rose Moore, thank you so much for joining us. My good friend, Miss Kelly Smith, thank you for joining us. Miss Beverly Crawford, thank you so much for joining us. I keep forgetting to look up, y'all. And I don't see any other names here. If I missed anyone, there are a few more. Just thank you guys for joining us this evening. If you watch the replay, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment. We really want to hear from our family that is watching, our family and friends that are watching. We want to make you a part of our Marriage Matters community. So we want to invite you into our world, so to speak. We want to get your feedback. If you need us, if you feel like you want to, maybe have a coaching session with us, we are available. There are several ways that you can reach out to us. Of course, you can follow Marriage Matters here on Facebook, Marriage Matters 0526 on Facebook and Instagram. We also have a YouTube page, Marriage Matters. You can listen to our Marriage Matters podcast on Apple podcast, Google, Spotify, and Anchor. So please, guys, go like, subscribe, share, give us some listens, boost us up a little bit out here on this social media, just so we can continue to help couples.
All right. Well, got anything else?
No.
All right. So hey, know what you want. Ask for what you want. All right. So that's the key. That's our tip and trick. Tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks. Yes.
I hadn't said that in a while. Anyway, well, we'll see you guys next week. This is Glenn and Tanya coming, reminding you that
your marriage matters.